Okay, guys and girls, the summer is finally winding down. You know, back when I was a kid, we always felt like summer was June, July, and August. We did that because we were out of school June, July, and August. Now, the kids are getting out of school in early May, and they start back in school, seeming like in early August, so we can't really call that summertime anymore. But I still, in my mind, think of summertime as June, July, and August. So as we get here to the end of August, and we have had a little bit of break in some of the hot weather. We have had some cooler weather come in. Instead of having some days that were like 105, 107, 108, 109, we're having days in the 80s, 85, 86, 89, and night times are getting a little bit cooler, and you can feel a little change in the air. So we are definitely changing. We're changing without a shadow of a doubt. But if you're catching fish early in the morning, shallow, which we've done pretty much all summer, what do you need to be doing once that sun pops out and it gets to burning down on the water and it's still hot, like it is most of the day still? Good morning, guys and girls. August 29. We just about used this month up. So what does that leave? That leaves September, October, November, December. Two-thirds of this year is just about history. It's just about history. And I say, isn't that great? I don't know if it's great or not, because, golly, it went by in a hurry, didn't it? Didn't it happen in a hurry? My gosh. All right, this is one of my favorite ones right here, because listen to this, Jonah. Jonah was a fisherman. Not really. Jonah was the bait. Jonah 1:3, right at the start. Jonah arose to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. I fished there, Tarshish. I fished there where Jonah, he had that encounter with that big fish. Jonah arose to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. Here's what I wrote about that. Bass fishing requires some stealth, especially when the water is clear and fish are shallow. Particularly, you need stealth when the bass are spawning early in the year and are near or on the beds. Often, if they see or even feel the presence of a boat around, they're out of here. In the summertime, like right now, the lakes are probably at their clearest now than they'll be all year long. Particularly here in southern Oklahoma, because we've just not had hardly any rain to dingy the water up. And so the lakes get clearer and clearer and clearer as the summer goes on, till we get into fall rain sometime, and then get a little flow in there off of the creeks and the rivers to dingy the water up. Everybody knows the story about Jonah. Everybody knows. You don't even have to have ever been to church to know the story about Jonah. God told Jonah to go preach to the folks in that evil city of Nineveh, where God had prepared an amazing revival. Here's the one thing to think about in this. God asked Jonah to go preach there, and God had already prepared in the people's heart for him to show up, and they were going to repent of their sins and turn away from their evil ways. It was an evil city. It was a prosperous city. It was a city that was bent on making money, like a lot of our cities that we have right here in America. It was people that they only thought about merchandise, selling, buying, selling, making money. That was they had thought nothing about the things of God. That he had prepared an amazing revival. It was any preacher's dream trip. You ask any preacher, listen, God said, listen, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you over to this church to preach a revival, and I've prepared those people's hearts. The church is going to be jam-packed every night, and people are going to get saved every night. Every preacher that I have ever met would jump at that chance. It'd say, let's go, let's head over there right now, I'm ready to go. It'd be every preacher's dream trip. God might just save all the people there in Nineveh. He might save them all. Well, he actually did save them all. But it wasn't for Jonah. It wasn't for Jonah that he saved them. Jonah split, he ran from God, and it nearly cost him his life. It would have cost him his life had God not intervened. God is always talking to each of us Christians also. Here's the deal. God is talking to you and me. He's talking to you and me often. God will talk to you and me today. Are we listening? Are we obeying what God is talking to us about? Do we run when God tells us to speak to somebody? Do we run when God says, hey, you need to speak to that person about me? You need to encourage that person. Do we just back off and don't do it? Maybe we need to pray for them. Maybe we need to pray with them. Maybe we need to, God tells us, that person right there is going through some hard times. Why don't you ask him if you can pray with him? Why don't you ask him if you can pray with her? Have you ever had that happen? I've had it happen. Have you followed through with that? Many times I haven't. Many times I haven't. Why not take a minute the next time that you feel like running and obey God instead? Just take a second and encourage somebody. Pray with them. Ask them if you can help them through their problems. When you ask somebody to pray with you, it's amazing to me. Almost never will they say, no, I don't want the prayer. I've had it happen. I've had it happen, and it can happen, and it might. I know everywhere I go around the country, a lot of people will pray with me. They'll pray with me, and in the last 18 months, when Chris has gone through this, 16, 17 months, mostly they're praying for me and praying for Chris. They're praying for Chris to heal. They're praying for me to have the patience to help her heal, to keep her encouraged, to keep her positive as we go through this process. People pray with me a lot, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Here's our tip for today. After that productive early morning bite, and that's what's going on right now. The bite early in the morning is really good. Don't be afraid to fish deeper water. After that bite slows down, and right now in Oklahoma, it's doing that usually around 10 o'clock or so. So we're having a pretty good early morning bite. Before the sun comes up is the best, but even after that sun comes up, those fish are staying in that shallow water because there's a lot of bait up in that shallow water. There's a lot of bait out deep also. But the thermocline's up pretty high, and so there's not too many fish really, really deep. Don't be afraid to move out to that deeper water. If you can see the thermocline, if you have one at the lakes you're fishing, if you can see that thermocline on your depth finder, then don't worry about fishing down below that. That thermocline, if it's, say, 12 foot, you can fish 12 foot. If it's 20 foot, you can fish less than 20 foot. But don't be afraid to move out to deeper water. Get out there and whack them. Guys and girls, go out there and have a great day today. And remember, I sure do love you.